Hey everybody, this is Hey everybody, this is Slappy White with Good Morning Bo, powered by Radish Digital. I'm here with Seth from Mainly Breaks and Eric, Mr. Card Hop from the Card Society. Hey guys, hope you had a great weekend. Today we want to talk about a post that came in. I think it was from Raiders fan Forever. He talked about sniping something that you don't see in the wild too much. It was the sliding bow promo. It was the promo 2 card from the Alpha set. It's a hex card, not that you would know because the sticker placed on this PSA 9 card was placed across the weapon. You actually have to know your cards to know that was a hex because the seller hid that part. But let's start off, Seth. I said, "What a deal," and you were like, "Ah." So,
Eh,
Seth,
eh. I mean, it is a deal. I'm not going to say it's not a deal. I will say, great card, $90. They're more prevalent, I think, than some people realize because they were used as promotional. I think for events for the card shops that are going to host things. So, I mean, it's probably about $200. I think maybe 250. That's just my first guess. We'll love to see if you all think differently.
yeah, I mean, so I'm hoping Eric is going to be the man of reason to join me this morning because we're talking the power on this thing. I don't have it actually. Seth, do you mind pulling it up? Is I think the
Yeah,
power on it's 180, right?
it is
Yeah,
one.
it's 180.
Yeah, I mean, so Eric, can you set Seth straight?
How do I share?
Yeah,
I
I'm a little
added it.
higher than Seth. I was gonna go 300 on that one.
Okay.
I think that was definitely a nice steal. I don't think the seller knew exactly what they had when they posted that price on there.
Now, when you say nice deal, of course he's sliding home. So that was a great use of words there, Eric. But so
Right.
when you talk about the seller didn't know what he had, what's interesting is it's graded 9. If you're going to take the time to grade it, don't you think they would understand what that card is? I mean, like I'd understand if it was in the raw, but it was graded. So how do you not
Yeah.
know what a sliding bow promo is worth?
I think the didn't he say he picked it up at a card shop? My
Or card
guess
show, yeah.
Yeah, my guess is somebody bought that from somebody else. So they weren't the one who actually graded it. They just bought it graded, and who knows? They probably bought it for less than the $90 sticker on there. So a double steal, right?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. What if they just mislabeled it? Like, what if somebody was selling it for the other person and, like their spouse was like, all right, put this sticker on this sticker on this. I'm going to go to lunch. I'll be back. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, they swapped it. That $90 was on like a Showtime battle foil fire,
Right.
card. But what have you seen? Like, I mean, we talked about steals a while ago. I know, Seth, you scour eBay frequently. There's not a lot of card shows I think I've heard you go to. Have you guys seen any cards in the wild? Not sealed, but unsealed, either in a card shop, a card show. Have you guys seen anything anywhere? I've never, and I look, but not that much.
No, not for singles. I've card shows here in Atlanta. There hasn't been any battle arena. I had some at a couple different shows, and most people didn't know what they were. But they love the cards. Everyone wants you to talk about them, so it's always fun to display those on your table and have a nice story with the cards as well.
Yeah. What
Agreed.
about you, Seth? Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I've been to a handful of shows in the area. They're not very big in Maine, at least where I am. And I always bring some of the cards to show others. And I'm generally the only person that knows anything about them. There was one other guy, and he knew he had requested some. He had a small amount, he had a handful of blasters, but didn't really know anything about the product. He was just selling it.
Um, I agree with you, Seth. It's funny. I've had that discussion with Frenchie before. It's when Frenchie talks about card shops and what they can do. It's funny because I'm like, man, it is just different than it is in New England. Like I know originally you grew up in New Jersey, Seth, and I think based on jams, it's a little bit different down there. But it's interesting. Like card shops in New England. Let me explain it to the rest of the country. It's usually somebody over 75 years old who owns it. He usually has a sign on the door that says open Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 to 1. And he's usually there Wednesday from 3 to 3:30. I mean, Seth, that pretty much describes every card shop in New England, right?
Yeah, that's super close, especially the ones here in Maine, in southern Maine. Although there was one shop that recently changed hands to a slightly younger demographic. We'll see if that changes.
Yeah, I mean, I know, Eric, you said your family, I think it's from Chicago originally. Of course, you live in
Mhm.
Atlanta. But I mean, does that shock you, Eric? Like, for people not from, like, that's where I feel detached at from the rest of the community when they talk about what their local card store means to them. I'm like, what universe did these people? It's almost like we live in a different country. Eric, did you realize card stores in New England were like that?
I didn't. I thought that was the mecca. Like, I thought you guys had stores lining the streets open 9 to 9 every day.
Oh my God. Anything but. All right, we're five
Yeah,
and a half minutes in. Eric, any more? Seth, I want to get to your break last night. Of course, Seth is, and Seth, you got to remember, like on Good Morning Bo on this past Friday, I remember a text asking you when your next show was, and you're like, you didn't say the time, and because it starts at 6 every week, right, Eastern?
Close,
Six
6:37.
6:37. Okay. But that's my point is that it's at 6:37. You got to say it every time. All right, we'll get back to your break in 1 second. But
Sure.
Eric, any word on the giant break that's coming up that you have at the end of the month? Is it confirmed yet, or are you still finalizing details?
breaks confirmed 100%. I don't have a exact number on what product,
Yep.
but we're multi cases of hobby
Wow.
in this
Okay.
one, so it's going to be a big one. Yeah.
Okay, and of course, we're on the road for Bo's sister project. When does the first? Didn't have time. Well, actually, no. For any big hits that you had last night, we're gonna save it for a Friday show. But any hits you want to talk about from last night's show set?
Yeah, I'll share one. We had well, I won't tell you exactly what it was, but we did have a double feature hit. So I got two cards from the same feature, both really nice for a well-known community member. And it was National Women's Day, which I didn't know, but Miss Manley kindly let us all know. And it was a female athlete. So it was very appropriate
Wow.
for the day.
Okay, and my apologies right now, like, running the show for the first time from my mobile phone. I actually can't share. Seth has been kind enough to put up some images. Can't share it today with you guys. I apologize to the community. This is Good Morning Bo, where we don't go longer than 10 minutes. We still have, amazingly enough, guys, we have 2 minutes left. It's amazing doing it with three of
That,
us. Like,
that never happens.
doesn't it feel like we have an hour today compared to normally?
Yeah, and I try to talk really fast all the time, like the Micro Machine
Yeah,
Man.
right.
I know. Yeah, we all are talking fast, which is, I think we got to keep that on the Good Morning Bo show, short show. But this brings up an issue. Eric just said that he talked about the cases that he's going to have. And I saw some recent discussion in the community where people said, where are all these jumbos coming from? There was no product. Now all of a sudden, everybody's got cases of jumbo that they're ripping. And, Eric, you're getting some product right now. But it's interesting. I think it was Alpha Labs who came in and said, hey, there's a difference between sealed product at reasonable cost and sealed product. So I think what his insinuation was like, yeah, products coming on the market, but it's not like this is cheap. Like, just people are finally opening up their wallets, probably because Tecmo's about to drop. I mean, thoughts on that, Seth?
Yeah, I think it's way off base because from what I've seen, there've been a handful of jumbos and breaks, but we're talking like maybe like 5 to 10 additionally to people who normally wouldn't have jumbos, and I haven't really seen any more in the market, and like maybe one on eBay. So I don't know what the comment was. It's certainly not what I've seen.
Yeah, and Eric, I mean, your thoughts? Mhm.
I just think people held the jumbos until the price got high enough to where they wanted to sell it. I think that it's not like a wave of jumbos just hit the market. I think people had these from the beginning, and they just weren't offering them up to the public. And probably a lot of Discord deals going down,
You're right.
card shops selling off their allocation, things like that.
Yeah, and
Sure.
for people who don't know that there was a restriction on the brick and mortar card stores. Of course, the ones up in New England, the guys actually have to show up on Wednesday between 3 and 3:30 to look at the inventory they have. But there was a 90-day restriction from when it was released on Black Friday in 2025. And so that has now been lifted. So these card stores can now sell online. And Eric, you mentioned about the deals being done is like, have you seen, and guys, we have 20 seconds left. Have any prices on Jumbo? What's the last price you've heard, like whispered or you've seen?
3,200 to 3,400, right in that range.
Awesome. Thanks for that expertise, Seth. Is that kind of what you heard or anything else?
Yeah, no, that's about the rate. It's what I've seen. What I've talked to other breakers do with it, what they have purchased their boxes for.
And of course, some people in the community got it for 2,800 at Star City Games just a few weeks ago. Okay, that's going to do it from us on Monday on Good Morning Bo. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone.